the jungle. To beat Immortals, you need to be able to body T-Tigers. You need to be able to take farm away from him. If you don't take farm away from him, he's going to win the jungle, and typically that means Immortals have won the game.
Yeah, it could well be the case. Well, Baron and Lyra going to be the bans coming through on this one. Echo Fox starting on this A side, so they get to go for the first pick of this draft. And with the Lyra banned, you'd expect Grace, but it is going to be the Vox coming on through. That has been typically a bit of a counter pick to Grace.
Yeah, it's been a pick that a lot of teams have used to counter Immortals. I'm really surprised that Suijay is having them pick up the Grace, because he is the most vocal about Vox being really good into Grace and how you shouldn't play the Grace if there's a Vox open. Like, he has been extremely vocal about that, and now they're just going to go for it.
Yeah, I think Grace also having a lot of different facets, so maybe picking it outside of that matchup and trying to find a different way to use that Grace to their effect. But it's going to be Samuel banned away, so no Samuel for Irwin, and we know that he likes to play those long-range CP junglers.
Yeah, it is going to leave the Scarf available unless Immortals take that with their second pick, but I feel like that's a really tough pick to take that early in the draft, but we'll see. I mean, obviously it's a comfort pick for Irwin, and I expect it to go over to him if it is not taken here by Immortals.
Irwin? What am I talking about? It's going to be the Idris locked in coming on through. I think my brain has just fried at this point in the day, but it is going to be a Catherine coming on the other side to counteract that. I nearly said Irwin again. I don't know what is wrong with my head. To counteract the Idris. I'm going to pass it to Dragonboard to talk for a little bit, because I clearly can't.
So, I mean, the Catherine and the Vox are pretty good, actually, into Grace. In fact, we'll see Catherine so often just save her stun for Grace to punish her for that aggression. The Holy Nova ends up becoming pretty ineffective if you're always stunned up as a captain and Captain Grace. But it's very dangerous. Idris is very strong, and some of the counters that we've seen work against Idris aren't available right now. They're not, you already got the Vox pick. So Echo Fox definitely has to be very careful here as they go into this last pick. This last pick needs to be something that can help them win the jungle. Otherwise, Zio is going to be able to have a full reign of the lane and this game.
Well, it's going to be the Scarf coming on through. This is something we've seen Irwin use in the jungle very successfully in the past as well. But also, if I'm not mistaken, this is very similar to that Wombo combo composition we saw out of Immortals themselves, where they were just blasting all three ultimates. They didn't have the Scarf, but it certainly fits a similar bill in terms of that respect.
Yeah, absolutely. You can double up with the silences coming out from the Catherine and the Vox, and if there's no silences, they're not going to be able to really or if there's no abilities to come out, there's not really going to be a way that you can reposition yourself and avoid the damage from the Dragon's Breath. So that possibility is there. If they can get those silences down, burn up a target before Grace is able to use the Divine Intervention, it can work out wonders for them. It is going to be a Skye as the final pick for Immortals. So T-Tigers on Skye to go up against the Scarf. This shows me that they're going to be looking to really put pressure on the Scarf and try and force him out of the jungle early.
All right, Dragonball, what do you make of these drafts? How are you feeling this one's going to go?
Well, in the hands of Immortals, they're so competent. I really think that they have basically the best repositioners in the game. They can, Dragon Breath's coming in, they can lay down death from above, reposition the fight. Idris can jump on, be invincible for a few seconds, and then come from the backside. And if they play that well, they'll constantly be forcing the Dragon Breath one way while they're going the other way. And that's going to be problematic. It's going to be hard to lock them down. But if they do, if Silence comes out with all of the combos of ults coming out, it might spell doom for Immortals, so it's going to be really focused on just playing together. Both teams need to be playing together and on the same page.
All right, how are you feeling about this one, Bacon? Do you feel like either team has a significant advantage?
I don't think it's a significant advantage from the draft, but there is an advantage to Immortals just because the early game in the jungle, a Skye should be able to really punish Scarf and prevent Irwin from getting to that late game point until even later in the game. Normally we look at 15 to 18 minutes for a Scarf. Assuming T-Tiger is able to control this jungle early on with the Skye, it shouldn't be the Scarf coming on until like 22 minutes.
All right, well, we'll see if that is going to be the case. It's time to get into our first series of Day 2 of the North American Challenge Battles. It is going to be Echo Fox up against Immortals. This is in or out when it comes to the Vainglory8, and we'll find out who is going to be our victor. Hashtag Vainglory8 on Twitter, but let's get on into this series.
Thank you very much, guys. My name is Jaws, joined by Action Jackson for day number 2. And my goodness, AJ, this is a draft I wanted to see. Owen on the Scarf in the jungle, and we got T-Tigers on that Skye.
I think the thing which excites me most, Jaws, has got to be T-Tigers on that Sky. I love watching really high-level Sky play. It's something which definitely hasn't been like a constant in the meta over the last couple of months, but it really is something I think T-Tigers can do a lot of work with. Also, Dienzio on the Idris. Idris, very high skill cap hero. We know what Dienzio is like. Should be exciting. I think the raw power on the Immortals lineup is a little bit more than what Echo Fox is bringing to the table, but at the same time, Echo Fox, they have the ability to play these team fights in such a way that they make up for that a little bit with the synergies between their heroes. You know, if you stun someone up, you get a lot of damage down on them, and you can take them out quite quickly. Even if Grace is trying to heal that target, if you can kill them before the heal comes through, it could be massive for Echo Fox.
I mean, that's just looking at the compositions. Let's look at the teams as a whole here. Immortals were beaten yesterday by Hammers of all people, and Fox have looked all too great in the last coming weeks of the VG8. This match specifically was what I was looking forward to because it can come so close, and I think it's going to go easily to game 3. Hang on a second. There's more engagement in the jungle as I was looking at the lane as always. Slater is going to get chunked out, and T-Tigers finds the first blood. When it's going to get chased down here. Max Green, has he got anything to play with? Owen actually just burning him up. T-Tigers cutting around. Max Green is going to come through, though. Pretty big. It's just going to survive with the potion. That's 2 kills now for T-Tigers on the board.
That's a pretty devastating start, I gotta be honest. If you're the side of Echo Fox, doesn't feel too good. Oh, T-Tigers just got out of that route.
Ooh, only just. Slater actually hurting himself at this point. Slater chasing him up here. Does get the healing camp as well. Slater could just run him down. He is going to step on that scout trap. That is one way to end an early advantage.
All right, so let's break down what was going on here. I like the fact that Echo Fox tried to go for the Treant. They can kill it very quickly early on. With a Scarf, you have a lot of percentage health damage from the burn. Gets through that Treant pretty quickly. But they didn't quite have enough vision of Immortals to know that they had space to do it. If a fight broke out, there's very little way that Scarf plus Catherine deals with Grace plus Sky. You saw that. I mean, quick pickup onto Slata, who admittedly got rooted, maybe the positioning not the optimal positioning there. But on top of that, they then lose Irwin in a very close fight. So not a great situation to be in. The Tigers bit off a bit more than he could chew, though. I mean, going that deep, yes, you got the Treant, but it's still a tough situation to get out of. I think even if he hadn't stepped on the scout trap, he probably would have gone down. So yeah, very back and forth. Both these teams maybe making slight missteps. It is their first game of the day, at least in the tournament, so probably need to warm up a little bit. I imagine they're going to tighten up their game as we head into a later stage. We are paused, though. Hopefully we'll have that resolved pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Oh, there you go. Well, that luck of the casters, eh? Normally it's bad luck, but this time it's good luck. T-Tigers with a bit of good luck, though. That kill actually went on to Slater rather than Irwin, so I'm pretty sure he's going to be happy about that. Especially having that double kill early. We know what he can do in the jungle, and even said on the desk, and I think people mention it sometimes a little bit too much. He is the king of the jungle, AJ. He is one of the best junglers right now in the scene. It's going to be hard to contest him. Max Green actually taking that camp away. That's painful. Super shot coming through. Spitfire doesn't end up landing. T-Tigers is going to be able to kite away. Level 4 against 2 level 2s and level 3. Beautiful Holy Nova. Slater might just go down as Dienzio does connect with him as well. Super shot looking not so hot right now. Double kill comes through for Dienzio. Went on the wrong side of the fight. Did manage to pick off Max Green there, but double kill for the laner and a double kill for the jungle. Not where Fox want to be. And with Dienzio collapsing on Irwin, does actually have to force the boots there.
That was pretty catastrophic. There was a number of reasons why that went wrong. So first things first, obviously giving the camp to Grace. Rough, really rough situation. She does actually have more bursts than you might expect with Benediction, or with just her heroic perk. So you really have to watch out for that when you're trying to take camps from her. It's one of the reasons why you actually see Graces be so successful a lot of the time in those forward healing camps invades. T-Tigers, he should be fine. He's got Surrey Strike.
He should be fine. He's got Surrey Strike, but that burn's not going to be enough. He didn't use the Surrey Strike whatsoever. Here comes Max Green with a Benediction. Dienzio is going to meet them as well. Win Slater, what is their next move? Max Green does get a Holy Nova on Irwin and actually just chunk him out all alone. It's a 1v1v1. Slater in the 1v1 with Dienzio as Max Green picks up the kill onto Irwin. He's just going to chase him down here. Dienzio is going to be able to find Slater as well. Just give it over to your carry, Max Green. Don't be greedy. There's the Chakra and picks up the kill. Super shot pushed in the wave, but watches his teammates die.
Yeah, so T-Tigers, I'm not sure what his plan was there. Walking towards the wall and going for the Surrey Strike should have been able to get him out of there, if maybe on very low health, you know, still. Probably could have gotten out of there alive. but it did buy a lot of time for his team to get there, so it ends up being a 2-for-1 trade. I highly doubt that was the plan, but it kind of works out regardless, especially as one of the pickups was Irwin. That's definitely a nice pickup for Immortals to get early on here. Yeah, I mean, Immortals, they're doing a great job of pressuring the map. Echo Fox, I think they are consistently biting off too much, though. You know, they're consistently sort of saying, all right, we're going to contest this objective. And then they die. And then they're saying, all right, we're going to pressure you a little bit, you know, in the jungle. And they die. It's never great trades for them either. It's never like, okay, we're going to get a 1-for-1. And because of that, you know, because we killed your carry and, you know, you killed our captain, we're going to push the turret or something. It's more like good trades for Immortals. Quite frequently, they even get 2-for-1. So Echo Fox, they just need to tighten up a little bit. You know, this is them trying to make things happen. And I think you got to question why, right? They've got Vox and Scarf. You can play for a later game. There's no issue with that if you're Echo Fox right now.
Not so sly are the Foxes right now with Immortals.
Ooh.
Looking Immortals, super shot, almost takes the second Chakram there on the way back, but Dienzio pushing forward. Super shot actually getting dope here. Chakram just misses. Max Green, can he finish the kill? Yes, he can. Of course he can. He is Max Green after all. Now Slater just forced underneath this turret. And with Irwin still just farming up. Now only just rotating. That's going to be a lot of damage down to this tier 1. And Immortals just pressuring oh so hard. Irwin's here. Has got Spitfire as well. What are they going to do? Death from Above does come down. Doesn't quite connect with anybody. Max Green still backing off. Dienzio backing off as well. Max Green is going to get burned alive here. He might just end up going down. Phantom's going to get popped. There's the Holy Nova. Only onto one member. T-Tiger's just running and gunning down. Slater almost gets out. Well, he does get out. It almost goes down is what I was supposed to say. Slater almost falls. Does use the potion just for the healing at the end. Does escape alive. But look at the damage down onto Fox's tier 1.
Man, that was a really nice push. It almost worked out even better. Max Green actually had his Holy Nova interrupted by the Merciless Pursuit from Slata. So very nice timing there. This is actually something Catherine can be very effective against the Grace for.
Hang on a second, AJ. I think there's another fight. Super shot in the front line here. T-Tiger's going fairly low, but Fox will end up just taking this Treant now. That almost was explosive. T-Tiger's missing the Death from Above ever so slightly, and Max Green only just rotating now.
Yeah, that was an interesting fight. I have to admit, the Catherine pick really doing a lot of work in this game. I mentioned it just there with the Holy Nova. I was about to talk about how it can be really nice into the Grace, because you have just a very simple way of interrupting a heal or interrupting a Holy Nova. It's also really good into the Sky. You just chase her after the Surrey Strike, slap her once, and she's stunned. You know, it's really effective for locking down that hero. But what I want to talk about right now, if I'm able, is the fact that Dienzio is actually doing really, really well this game so far. He actually had this Sorrow Blade a couple of minutes ago, maybe even 3 minutes ago, which is part of the reason why Immortals has been able to make so many of these plays. His damage has been really quite outrageous. It's been like Grumpjaw level, at least for a minute or two there. So he's in a good spot. I like Slata interrupting that back, though. Does mean that Dienzio has to think about whether he wants his wave or not.
He's going to decide to take it. No way for you, T-Tigers, unfortunately. No tax for the jungler, but T-Tigers now just using that forward barrage to get a little bit of distance. Dienzio as well has got a massive CS lead over Supershot, 67 to 87. That's 20 CS at 8 minutes in for a lane. For a ranged versus melee laner, has actually just picked up Poison Shiv as well. Supershot is in a lot of trouble here in terms of just laning and in a lot of damage as well. Oh my goodness, that's silence. There's the Fountain as well to keep them alive. T-Tigers has just entered the fight as well. Will the Surrey Strike land? It does. The Death from Above, however, does not. Fox now, they are fairly chunked out, but Dienzio and Max Green just overstaying a little bit there.
Yeah, Max Green, I think he's sticking around because there's a Grace ultimate. They're trying to maybe bait some kind of a fight here. Dienzio also has his ult, so he can kind of peace out for a little bit whilst they reset with the Grace ultimate. It's one of those synergies right after Grace was released I was talking about with, I believe it was Dalsy. Like, it's really, really strong pairing Idris with that Grace, partially for that reason, but also just because they're great dive buddies. They both have a lot of gap closing potential. As it stands, though, this turret, not long for the world. Slata cannot get back in time to really interrupt that one. And to be honest, you know, I think that's fine. I actually would have preferred to see Erwin and Slata just go down. Like, Slata goes to the shop, spends his money. Supershot goes to the shop, spends his money. Erwin backs up to the jungle farms. You know you're going to lose that turret. There's not really much reason to send 3 people up there and spend time not farming the jungle.
all looking rather promiscuous for Fox right now. I don't think they even know where they kind of are in this game. Losing that tier 1 turret just under 10 minutes as well is going to leave them in a sticky situation as they need Irwin to scale up. He has got Eve of Harvest, he's working towards a broken myth now, and you can imagine when he actually gets that online, they're going to want to fight, but Immortals at this moment have so much pressure in the lane. Just having that tier 1 down, Dienzio can push the waves in, maybe a little engagement here onto Max Green, does go fairly low. Dienzio's going to dash onto the back line though, that Trackum's going to come out and chunk super shot. Irwin almost taking out T-Tigers there with just the Spitfire alone. Wait for it, does come out, goes a little bit wide, everybody managed to dodge it on the side of Immortals, and now Fox pressuring the lane now. This is their chance. This is their opportunity to actually get a lot of damage down onto this tier 1 of their own.
Not sure what happened there for Immortals, but they did not jump on the fact that Slada used Merciless Pursuit quite needlessly at the beginning of the fight. They probably could have set something up, turned that one around, but they were very, very delayed in doing so, and Erwin got, I believe, 2 Spitfires onto T-Tigers pretty quickly there. On top of that, you can see there's a little bit of communication errors happening on the side of Immortals, because actually under the turret, Dienzio was all good. He used his blink to get out of the way of the stun, but actually we saw Max Green just popping Crucible preemptively, and that's a bit of a communication breakdown. They wasted like a 45-second cooldown for no real reason, right? So Immortals, they got to make sure they're on the same page. As we move into the mid-game, it's very critical. You got to be using your resources effectively against very efficient abilities like that Merciless Pursuit. If you can dodge it without using a Crucible, you definitely should, because Merciless Pursuit can be up way earlier than the Crucible.
I mean, that Blast Tremor is going to be something to block as well. I think Immortals have to kind of keep that in mind. And now Max Green with those 2 items finished and working towards what I can imagine to be an Echo. It's got to be. You just have to get the Echo on the Grace now. It is coming the standard build. Speaking of standard builds, or not so much, T-Tigers, not so much the King of the Jungle now, actually just get Blast Tremor to death. Here comes the Fountain to heal out. Super Shot might just fall though. Dienzio just running absolutely rampant. Max Green with the heal as well. Comes up with a double kill. Immortal's still going to chase this down. Slader all alone. A sitting duck completely isolated from his team. Chakram might just finish him off. Blink forward from Dienzio. Can he find the last basic attack? Max Green comes over the wall with the benediction and sends him back to base. And now Immortals, they get the lane pressure, they get the ace, and that is another large chunk of change as well.
This is exactly what I was talking about in the early game, unfortunately. It's Echo Fox seeing an opportunity, or what they think is an opportunity, and jumping on it without necessarily putting it through the paces and thinking, okay, is this really going to work out? When you don't have supporting vision, going for a pick like that onto the sky can backfire for 2 big reasons. Firstly, going for picks without vision is just generally able to backfire, but secondly, against the sky, if he's able to Surrey Strike backwards, even if he still dies, that creates a lot of space and buys a lot of time for his team to get into position and then follow up. And Dienzio plus Max Green, as I mentioned before, this is a pairing of heroes that has tons of innate synergy, can do so much damage. If you burn a lot of your abilities
hang on
early,
a second here.
well.
Speaking of a ton of damage, Dienzio comes up big. Triple man Chakram. Blast Tremor backwards to keep them from advancing, but that isn't going to stop them now. Super Shock hiding backwards, needs to get some damage down. That Benediction doing a whole lot of work for Max Green, and the heal on Dienzio as well as soon as he engaged was absolutely beautiful. And now Immortals once more looking absolutely unstoppable. That will be the gold miner going over to them as well. And bearing in mind they took a tier 2 turret a second ago, AJ, we are not even at Kraken potential yet. And Immortals, I mean Fox, losing 2 turrets, not looking too good for them.
I'm half tempted to say that T-Tigers could take a chill pill for a little bit and just take a break from the game, still be a fine situation for Immortals. Dienzio and Max Green is just doing all the work. You saw Dienzio go in basically 1 versus 3. T-Tigers was miles away. All Max Green has to do is at very long range channel a heal, and Dienzio is going to find 1 kill, bare minimum, and be able to get out. That's where Immortals are right now. They're in a great position to take home this game. On the side of Echo Fox, though, let's start talking about maybe what they need to do to come back. I think they've had the right idea of going for picks, but you got to have the supporting vision, whether that be flares, which is probably more realistic at this stage of the game, or scout traps if you're able to get some down. You have to go for a pick onto someone when Max Green is not able to support, not able to get there in time to throw the heal down and basically ruin the chance that you've taken to actually find that pick.
Speaking of getting ruined, Echo Fox right now. Max Green looking all too good. He's got that Echo online, and that does mean double humongous gargantuan heal, AJ. T-Tigers has been found. Actually popping that reflex block. There comes the Barstrom. Silence onto 2 members. Fox still going in, but look at DNZO on the back line already. Oh my goodness, Super Shot's health bar just ends up obliterating. Still DNZO chasing. Owen's going to be his next target, just forcing him out. Chakram finishes him off. He pops the shield and he pops the Crucible as well. Well, Max Green did to get the shield off. T-Tigers handily dealing with Slater, and now Super Shot is going to just get gunned down. Immortals find another ace. That's their 3rd one of the game. We are 15 minutes in. They're looking to take that tier 3 turret, open up the base for Fox, and maybe even just take the game in the next few.
So, whilst I think that their macro play has been a little bit lackluster at times, you got to give some amount of credit to Echo Fox for their micro play this game. Like, their team fights have not been terrible. The problem is that draft-wise, I mentioned it, like, literally, I think the first thing I said when this game kicked off was that Immortals just had so much raw power on their comp. They really do. I mean, DNZO is doing 2 heroes worth of work in this game. Max Green is doing probably 2 or 1.5, and T-Tigers, yeah, he's probably in this game just doing 1, but that's still respectable. You know, on the side of Echo Fox, I feel like Super Shot, for example, right now is probably doing like 0.75. So this is definitely working out really nicely for Immortals. They're showing us again why they are one of the top-rated teams from Challengers and why they really are in top contender spot for the VG8 slot heading into split number 2. With Kraken now on the board, this is another opportunity for Echo Fox. Everyone can make a mistake on Kraken. Immortals, no exception to that rule. And on top of that, you know, a steal. We've seen a steal this weekend already in North America, Jaws, from a Vox bounce. Maybe Super Shot will make it happen again. Who knows?
Please don't remind me. There has been too many Kraken steals, too many Gold Miner steals, just with minute abilities, basic attacks, everything under the nose. I just want to erase the memories from my head. I think Fox want to do the same as well, or at least Immortals will if they do lose this Kraken, now doing the Kraken dance. A lot of vision down here. Place down from Max Green. It's going to do a whole lot of work. And now infusions for DNZO and T-Tigers. They are just going to push this lane out to make sure they get that vision from the minions walking down. Now is all on to Echo Fox. Do they start the Baron? Should I stay or should I go? Kraken is all too juicy right now. Looks like Fox are just going to recall here. At least Super Shot is going to. T-Tigers sees that opportunity, jumps on Slater, but he has a very tanky Catherine. Blast Tremor on the back line. There was Owen, does get jumped on. They take that, and they take that with Storm. Max Green actually just almost soloing out Owen here. Slater's going to go down to DNZO and T-Tigers. There we go, and now Super Shot just kiting back, but you're not going to kite away from an Idris. DNZO just jumping on top. Super Shot goes down to a Chakram, and that will be Max Green almost killing Owen. Eve Harvest a little bit too much for him, though, I think. And now a 1v3 situation. The Lonely Duckling, or the Lonely Dragon. It's looking all too sad for Fox right now. Immortals, they're probably going to set their sights towards the Kraken.
Yeah, really nice stuff from Immortals. That being said, I think things are falling apart a little bit.
Oh my goodness, that bat got interrupted with a single kick from Grace. The boots are too big, and they are too big for Fox to wear. That's going to be an ace for Immortals. They're going to move to this Kraken, and here comes the base, AJ. Echo Fox's base is going to get absolutely obliterated.
Yeah, this is going to be a really tough spot. Plus, they actually just barely got the ace buff there. So if Slater tries and run down to maybe interrupt this Kraken, you can see that wave. In fact, Super Shot even knows he has to just do a bit to it because he's not going to be able to get to the Kraken, and that's actually going to set up this push really, really nicely. That was like one melee minion taking down the one minion and nearly the tank as well. So really nice stuff there. Oh, we got a fight again.
Going fairly hard again. Hang on a second. Super Shot is kiting back with such finesse. Slater actually popping those war treads as well. It almost takes out DNZO. Max Green's heal. That didn't come in a couple of seconds or mini seconds later. DNZO would have been dead. But regardless of the fact, Super Shot is going to go down. And that will be, I think, all said and done for Echo Fox at the moment. Catherine actually picking up the null wave there, but Kraken is just going to walk down the lane. That's no damage item, unfortunately, Slater, so I don't think it's going to help for the moment.
Yeah, this is going to be a really rough hold from Echo Fox. The good news is they've got the Scarf. This is something that can deal a lot of work to the Kraken. I don't think you really want to spend 75% of your Dragon's Breath behind you, though. Not ideal.
Not ideal, and do you know what isn't ideal? Fox's base being completely destroyed. Here comes the Kraken just marching down. Slater goes fairly low. T-Tigers in the back line. Super Shot's kind of handily dealing with him, though. Erwin and Dienzio, but Dienzio get this massive heal from Max Green. Kraken's going to be knocking on that base. Dienzio is going to fall. Max Green last to fall as well. Double kill comes through for Super Shot. Gets his name on that board. Can they damage the Kraken? A couple more hits from it, and the Crystal will go down. Only just surviving. Fox, with the skin of their teeth, survive for only the moment.
Wow, that was really, really close. I mean, I think that the priority needed to just be on ending the game there from Immortals. I think they certainly could have, but at the same time, this is not the end of the world for the side of Immortals. You know, there's not much on the map for Echo Fox to bounce back and take. They're going to try and face tank the turret. I think that should be fine. They're very likely to get at least this one here, but that is not a tremendous amount of money. It's certainly not something game-breaking, as I said, for the side of Immortals. And Immortals now, they've actually gone back, stocked up on full infusions, so they're coming back with full force. Maybe they even just push down the lane and try and end straight up here. I think that's definitely an option for them if they want to, just based on the fact that Echo Fox is still a little behind the curve in terms of what they're bringing to these fights. Erwin, for example, yeah, he's got his core offensive items, but he's kind of missing out on the defensive items that he really needs against Dienzio right now.
Just think they need a few more offensive items each, I think. Echo Fox not looking so hot right now. And the thing that they could do to come back into this game, AJ, is win the next couple of team fights. But how do they actually go about doing that? Because Immortals just seem to run and gun. Dienzio jumps in, Max Green gives him the heal. This composition drafted from Immortals looks nigh on unstoppable when Dienzio actually gets ahead. I want to know what they can actually do to force something here or even just come back in this game.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is really, I mean, it relies on Immortals making a misstep, maybe Dienzio stepping too far ahead, or T-Tigers doing a bad Surrey strike or a forward barrage backwards or something like that. That's the kind of level of mistake we're talking about right now for Echo Fox to convincingly be able to come back into this one. Unless sort of a strategic misplay happens, or a tactical misplay is perhaps a better way of describing it, like maybe Immortals positions in a choke point and can't get on top of anyone. Well, we got to fight here, though.
Well, speaking about getting on top of someone, that's a massive death from above. It's going to separate the team. Blast Tremor onto 3 members of Immortals. They're just going to run and gun them down. Here comes the heal onto Dienzio. A massive 600 HP heal. Slater in the front line tanking as much as he can, but Owen's now on the side. He's got the flank. He's got the Dragon's Breath, but will Immortals burn? They don't really care all too much as they take a double kill. Super Shot and Slater going down. Owen's going to fall as well. That patch of goop lit on fire is going to finally find T-Tigers his own grave, but Immortals, they've only got that Crystal standing in front of them now from the first win in this best of 3, and they're just going to handily take it.
Wow, that was a really nice fight, but it almost went wrong halfway through. You saw Dienzio have to hard bail, couldn't even blink out of there, had to just walk and hope that Max Green's heal would come out in time. It did, though, so things pan out really nicely. By the way, I really like that Max Green actually fully leveled up his ultimate instead of his Holy Nova this game, just because you have so much damage on Echo Fox that having that extra heal doubled with an Echo does a lot of work. Overall, Immortals, great play this game. Echo Fox, if they tighten up, maybe they can do this in game number 2, though.
Well, they've got outfoxed so far, and I want to see if they can do it in the draft, because Immortals comp looked unstoppable. But to break that game down a little bit more, we got Munch and the boys over on the desk.
I think it was Dienzio specifically that looked unstoppable there. 14-2-5. What a scoreline coming out. I feel like you now have to ban the Idris surely against this guy, because yesterday we had a couple of questions maybe, and there was just questions in general about who can and cannot play Idris, but Dienzio proving right there that he absolutely can, and paired up with a Grace, it seems unstoppable.
And it's something that they've been playing a lot of yesterday. Even in their losses against Hammers, they ran that Idris in both of those games. So they've been really big on this Idris pick, showing why here. This was a game that, despite the scoreline, Echo Fox had a chance. They had a chance to turn this around. They were starting to slowly turn it around, but then they made one really bad decision down the stretch of this game where it was the Super Shot recalled while the rest of the team didn't. And that ended up really being what cost them at the end.
Well, Immortals across the course of that game actually averaged a kill per minute, so definitely turning on the heat. And it was just such a fast-paced game, Dragonborn. Like, they never seem to stop fighting.
Yeah, Immortals is that aggressive, fast-paced team. It's usually how they win. They just overpower you with non-stop action. And I'm a little disappointed that it doesn't look like Echo Fox reviewed the videos, the VODs from the Immortals game between Hammers, because Hammers did find a way to allow Dienzio's Idris to be played and still found victory there. So there's a lot that happens. It's hard maybe in just one night to get all that information in, but it looks like, them going with the Scarf and with the Vox, I understand what they were trying to do. They could have done it. In fact, there was a point in the game where they still looked like they could come into this game, but unfortunately, Immortals, they are the superior team fighters, and they showed that here. They just, even when they're behind or they lose a guy early, they find a way. Like right here, they're down already one guy, and they're still able to win this fight actually quite handily, and this is on the back of Zio's Idris.
Yeah, a big part of that was they put so much focus on the T-Tigers, which you have to do, but they just, when they went all in on the T-Tigers, sometimes it ended up with Super Shot or, Irwin and Slada going a little bit too deep for that and leaving Super Shot then on his own against Dienzio and Max Green. And when the Vox goes down, I don't care how late it is, the Scarf is going to struggle. This was started where we sort of had a glimpse of, Echo Fox maybe still having a chance. You can see Super Shot has a lot of damage on this Vox and is almost able to turn this one around. But the next fight after that, this is the one where he was recalled. I believe it was this one where it ends up being basically, it's a 2-on-3 the entire time. There was never a time where all three of them were together. Irwin got completely split from the team because that recall came through. It was something I really wanted to be able to show a little bit more in depth, like the rotations that were happening during that time. But it ended up catching Echo Fox out of sorts, and Immortals took advantage.
Yeah, they certainly did, and with a 6-19 scoreline to round that one out, they took advantage in a big way there, and now Echo Fox have to go back to the drawing board when it comes to this draft. Now, we've spoken a little bit about compositions to go into Idris. What is it that Echo Fox need to change here? Like, do you try and build around this Idris here, or do you just try and ban it away and maybe look for, now that they're on the B side, maybe look for the Baron first pick with an Idris ban or something similar?
Oh yeah, I mean, it would be totally okay to ban it. I mean, if you feel like you aren't comfortable with a way to counter it, and that might come out here. We see that obviously very prevalent in Europe, and so wouldn't be surprised here. But there are ways, and one of the ways that we saw Hammers do it was with Kestrel. And with a very heavy jungle poke, either a Baptiste or a Samuel, and then just position themselves correctly. And then maybe that's the issue, maybe positioning. I actually think the Scarf pick was a decent pick, and we saw at times it was fairly effective getting damage down. But if you lose out early and you don't position yourself well, yeah, Immortals is going to storm right over you.
Yeah, Immortals certainly doing a phenomenal job in Game 1. Let's see if they can replicate that in Game 2 now. Banning the Lyra as their first ban, and Echo Fox on this B side. A few decisions to make here. Grace will be taken away. That means Baron potentially open for Immortals.
Yeah, but they're going to go ahead and take the Vox instead of the Baron. So they're saying that they feel like they can deal with a Baron if it were to come out. Or maybe challenging Echo Fox, saying, if you play the Baron, go ahead and grab it. Super Shot would be the one on that if they do go ahead and take it. But it's almost, a mind game situation where now Echo Fox has to wonder, okay, are they letting us have the Baron because they have a plan for it, or are they just trying to mind game us? And I think in this situation, you take the Baron and just try and make it work, because it is just such a strong pick.
It certainly is. I mean, Baron can single-handedly win games if you can get it rolling, if you can get a few items on it without falling too far behind. We'll see whether Super Shot is willing to take that burden on his shoulders. We mentioned the potential of picking that and banning the Idris, but they're going to go for a Catherine pick here, which you've got to assume is to maybe try and block an Idris, but there's already a Vox picked up for Immortals.
I think it's also to try and deal with a Kestrel that might come out, but it's a curious pick. I don't really know if it's first pick worthy. I mean, you have the option, you're going to get your captain before your opponents do regardless. So they could have taken a carry there and then let the bans go through and grab their captain afterwards, but it's a little bit curious to me that they went for the Catherine first.
Yeah, here in the jungle, I mean, I think, they might have won to play the Kestrel, but Immortal's smart enough to ban that away once the Catherine's picked. But they could go here with the Samuel. I think they really should do poke. I think positionally, the Scarf play is something that they maybe excel out. So try to stay within that play style, but find something that definitely has a stronger early game, because you really do want to survive the early game against Immortals, and Samuel can give you that level 2 spike you need to keep T-Tigers out of the jungle. Samuel is going to come out, and I think that's the right call. You don't want to give Samuel over to Immortals. I do suspect, though, that T-Tigers could play the Baptiste here. He's really good. He hasn't shown it too many times, but it would be a very powerful play. We have seen, of course, other times they play Glaive into a Samuel to try to get to that back line.
And Arden and Baptiste could be the combo here for Immortals. It's a very strong duo, helps with survivability a bit, and obviously the Baptiste into a Samuel, we've gone over how well that can work. Glaive could be an option too, but typically Glaive has been being played in the lane, and with Vox already picked up, it's highly unlikely that they'll go down that route. I feel like the Baptiste may just be their strongest pick. There's going to be the Arden at least, so one half of that pairing has been locked in. Putting a lot of thought into this final pick, though.
Yeah, they could go either way with this. This is a tough one because the Crystal Glaive's really not as formable, and actually T-Tigers did lose a game yesterday on that Glaive, and so maybe doesn't want to have to replicate that. So there's a few other options here. You got the Samuel, you do want to get it back. They could go with Koshka. Koshka's still available, but Immortals has known that some of these teams have figured out the counter the Koshka to play around it.
I mean, you've even got options like the Scarf. We've seen Arden Scarf as a specific duo work wonders for different teams. That's definitely an option that's available. Or just a Baptiste also works. Cruel is the decision, though, which, generally speaking, you'd see be weapon power. This could be a double weapon comp.
It very well could. This is something that obviously TSM has run a couple times. We saw it yesterday as well. The weapon power Cruel being able to have an impact with the double weapon power composition. It can work well into Samuel, but there's going to be the Baron final pick. This is a little bit risky on the Baron just because a From Hell's Heart, if it connects, will completely shut down the Baron. Like, that is a death sentence if it connects onto Baron. But if you can avoid it, if you can use your jump jets to block it or dodge it or anything of the sort, then this Baron can actually do a ton of damage before those weakness stacks build up on him.
Yeah, the Baron getting all the way through to the last pick as well. Kind of smart coming out from Echo Fox saying, like, okay, let's figure out what composition we're against. Then once they've locked that in, then we go for the Baron, once we know that it is safe. How are you feeling about these compositions, Dragonborn? How does this have to go for Echo Fox to take the game?
I mean, it really has to go early. They need to get that pressure onto Cruel. They don't want Cruel to build up. I'm not sure if it's going to be weapon or if it's going to be some kind of like support Cruel to help get just weakness stacks on the Baron and on the Samuel, because those guys will have a lot of damage that you kind of want to mitigate. But it could go either way. I do think, though, that whatever it is, Cruel doesn't take that long to come online like it used to, so I'm excited to see.
All right, so very quickly, I want your predictions for this game. Who do you think is going to take this one before we jump in?
I like the draft of Echo Fox, but I think Immortals are just a better team right now.
Okay, Immortals, what about yourself?
Yeah, it's really rare to bet against Immortals. They are a very dominant team here, and anything can happen, but I think they're going to win this game, if not the series.
All right, well, if they win this game, it will be this series. Immortals potentially looking at a 2-0 here. Can Echo Fox come back? Let us know if you want them to on Twitter using that hashtag Vainglory8. But with that, it's time to jump on into the second game of our first North American series of the day.
Thank you very much, guys. And once again, Immortals coming through with such a dominant game number 1, AJ. Game number 2, they got a Krull on the field. T-Tigers taking it easy. But I got to say, I love the draft from Echo Fox here, coming through with that Baron.
Yeah, I like the Baron a lot. I think this is going to be Echo Fox. I think it's going to give them the potential to have some of these team fights go a bit better for them in the later stages of the game, just because it does so much damage. And they're not against necessarily something that can just annihilate a Baron. If T-Tigers gets on top of Baron, sure, that's really good, and you gotta keep your eyes out for strong Hell's Heart plays, but Baron is not that stressed about an Arden a lot of the time, because you just overdrive your Rocket Leap and jump out of gauntlets. We'll have to see if that ends up panning the way that Echo Fox wants, though, because Immortals does have the ability to really push the tempo of this game if they want to.
The tempo has already been set, it seems. T-Tiger's getting stunned up by Slater here. He's just going to run and gun them down, it seems. Slater having to pop those potions. T-Tiger's doing the same thing. Owen on the sidelines, free hitting, though. Here comes Super Shot with the first blood. First blood goes over to Super Shot, killing T-Tigers. Can Max Green find the last auto attack? Slater comes through with the Merciless Pursuit in a completely flipped game. Immortals getting 0-2'd in the first couple of minutes.
Yeah, this is the risk, making plays you perhaps shouldn't around that Treant. It happens to the best of us, though. We've seen it in so many games. Echo Fox, how are they going to be able to leverage this? So that's the real question. You do have to keep in mind that Slater now, very low health, should probably back. That means maybe Super Shot's vulnerable in the lane. You see Max Green already heading up here, kind of anticipating that.
Slater going very low here. Has to put the potion. He might just end up going down. Max Green's going to follow this up. Another basic attack, another kick. Will send him to the ground, and that'll be a kill for Immortals. And this is looking all reminiscent of last game. This is exactly what happened. AJ just flipped around. Quite spooky.
So that was actually a pretty obvious play from Immortals. You know, when you know that the captain is so low after a fight over the Treant, they are not going to be getting, you know, healing Treants from their jungler necessarily. They're going to have to back if they want to heal up. Max Green plus Dienzio, they've got damage to take someone down, whether it be forcing Super Shot out of lane and just crashing a wave into the turret, making him waste a wave, or if Slater decides to go up to lane, you saw exactly what can happen there. Maybe a little bit over greedy by Echo Fox for Slater to stick around there. Let's see who gets Treant.
Well, the Treant is going to go over to T-Tigers. He gets the bounty, he gets the gold. Here comes Super Shot, though, from the lane. Actually walking into 3 members of Immortals. Jump Jets away, though, is going to give him the distance that he needs. Oh, T-Tigers almost getting rooted up. That was very, very close. He might just go down, though. He jumps straight on the back line of Echo Fox. He gets outslide, though. Outsmarted. He gets taken down by Irwin, and still Super Shot is alive somehow. Max Green is going to get chased down here. Vanguard on himself isn't going to save nobody. Owen picks up that next kill. 2 kills on the board for him now. Now Dienzio, with a tail between his legs, has to run away.
Is T-Tigers playing Pirate? Oh, yeah, that was going to be Avarice there. The greed. Man, going for that Treant, that forward Treant, was a little bit much for my liking. And then diving in afterwards was kind of, you had to do it, because at that point, Curl Sustain is the only way you're making that trade happen. But yeah, very, very interesting play there. Very, very risky from Immortals. Hasn't really ended up working out for them. 4 kills already to Echo Fox. Super Shot actually has 1 of them. This is definitely a scary position to be in. Immortals need to not let Baron get out of control here. We've seen plenty of times what can happen if it does.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, AJ. T-Tigers, though, in this brush actually gets stunned up. Didn't realize Slater was there with the Merciless Pursuit, but is still going to turn into a ghostly pirate and run away. Very spooky looking game. Colors of Immortals as well. How quaint. Now Fox, they need to get this Baron online and getting raring to go, but T-Tigers picking up that tension bow here might provide a little bit more danger to Super Shot if he does step forward, but at the moment his positioning has just been on point.
Yeah, it has up until this. He's got to keep doing that, though. I have to admit, Super Shot's looking really good on the Baron. I want to see him on this more, assuming this game goes well for Echo Fox, because he has been utilizing it very smartly throughout the game. Also, I like that Slater got his pick of Catherine again. This is something that I think almost worked out last game, so hopefully he can make it happen this time around as well. T-Tigers, I've yet to see the impact that this Kroll can provide. He's got a tension bow. I think this really is something which should be doing work right now. It is something that can, especially when paired with an Arden. So let's keep looking towards T-Tigers. He's going to be influential here for the side of Immortals.
He is. The level 6 mark is coming up very, very soon. Next camp, I believe. There we go. Just gets it now. So now Immortals may be looking for an entrance way into this game. 1,000 gold lead separates the 2 teams. Well, I can't really add too much. It's a bit late in the evening, you know, AJ, your math starts getting a bit funny. It's actually 600 gold, not 1,000. I was being a little bit too generous, I think, to Fox. And now Immortals looking for something here. T-Tigers doing the classic Kroll thing, is sitting in that top brush, waiting for an engagement to happen. From Hell's Heart is available. He throws it out. He stuns Irwin. They're just going to dive bomb him and just dogpile him. He ends up going down. Max Arena has to exit the fight, though, but their attention is turned to Slater, who falls very, very low. But T-Tigers decides he just wants enough of it. Super Shot just overstepping a little bit there, just gets stunned up. In fact, Dienzio in a lot of trouble. There comes Cruel again. T-Tigers can't find the smite kill though, but Slater will end up falling to Dienzio. Immortals picking up 2 kills there. A long extended team fight, but still coming out on top.
There's a fountain. It wasn't on cooldown. Okay, so Super Shot, if he had gotten in and been able to double attack Max Screen, he probably gets that kill. Maybe he gets away. It's a trade, maybe. Fine. But Max Screen did the smart thing, stayed in the mustache bush on the Immortal side. As a result, Super Shot jumping forwards like that was just a little too bold, because D'Anzo wasn't going to go down when there's a fountain on Max Screen. Fox should have known that. That really brought Immortals back into not just the game, but also like a good position in the game. Very, very nice spot for Immortals now. They can start to really do what I was talking about earlier, push the tempo, right? That's what they need to do to really catch up with Baron. And D'Anzo now, with 700 gold in the bank, plus already the Poison Shiv, is looking like he can get there. You know, he's just farmed a wave, has a second one very easily here if he wants it.
Quite easily. I mean, it's all scary looking at T-Tigers and that brush up there, but he's not really need a fight whatsoever. And Max Green doesn't have that gauntlet available. He's about 2/3 into his next level up. So he has to wait a little bit longer for that penultimate ultimate to be available. Penultimate ultimate. Very fitting. Super shot, though. Completely alone in this lane. T-Tigers does not know that. Only we know. We've got the X-ray vision. That's the perfect place to be. D'Anzo now rotating towards this lane. Has got his own tension bow from Hell's Heart. Is going to find Super Shot. He might just completely be caught out here. Smite comes through. Only just surviving. T-Tigers takes a turret hit. And he will be forced to go back to base. We'll see what they want to do now. Slater actually jumps head first into 3 members. Oblivion is going to come out. Is actually going to sleep 2 members of Immortals there. Irvin comes up really big in that engagement. Saves Slater's life.
Man, that was pretty dicey. I like the fact that Immortals are trying a lot of plays here, though. This is exactly what I think they need to be doing. Ideally before Baron hits item number 2 as well. Because right now, he's sitting on that Sorrow Blade. Looks like he's going for the Tension Bow second item, which I actually quite like. You've got a very squishy D'Anzo that you can blow up. And also potentially, you know, with the build that T-Tiger is going, you want to kill him quite quickly in these fights before he actually gets weakness stacks down and starts sustaining. Because he's not inherently that durable going for the Tension Bow and now into maybe a Poison Shiv. That being said, I do maybe want to see a Poison Shiv off of Super Shot at some point. Because later in this game, T-Tiger is going to be very, very hard to take down. Let's see what we can do with the Tension Bow spike, though. Maybe Echo Fox now, the ones who actually want to set up a play.
Well, Max Green has a gauntlet available. Slater wanted to make that play. T-Tiger still on the side. Pushes towards the top of the brush. Is he going to pull this trigger? D'Anzo is off to the side. Only has the Tension Bow to his name in terms of damaging items. There we go. Slater's found him. T-Tiger's gauntlet does come down. Flags are set to sail as they run them down here. Super Shot ends up falling to a smite. And that Ion Cannon does so much damage. Owen ends up falling under its might. And now it is Slater, the only left member alive for Fox. They are just going to run him down as well. Merciless Pursuit to get away. But chip, chop, chop goes the triple kill. T-Tigers, he's looking hella impressive as the Terse turret will go down as well. Immortals just turning that early game deficit around.
Very, very nice plays there. At the beginning, I was a little bit worried actually, because Super Shot, as soon as he got Tension Bow, made his way to the lane and looked to use the hidden information to make the play quickly before Immortals could adapt. They actually nearly took down D'Anzo in that exchange, but with Immortals being able to back away and reevaluate, they knew what they could afford to do after that. And they are certainly a team that, once they train onto someone, can stick very, very convincingly to them. Just based off of the fact that, you know, they've got the Kroll, the Vox, the Arden. These are all heroes that dive effectively. Right now, I think Echo Fox need to start playing a little bit more passively. They're probably not going to be able to use Catherine to set up picks, necessarily. They've got a Samuel, they've got a Baron, they can play from range, they've got good disengage. Utilize those elements of the team comp, because now you're just too far behind to make the plays happen where and when you want them to.
Speaking of making plays, D'Anzo does get stunned up, but like you said, it's very hard for now Echo Fox to even advance on Immortals. T-Tiger's in this brush. Handle Ghostly again. He's ready for an engagement. Does have from Hell's Heart available. Gauntlet is the only big cooldown now. Down for the side of Immortals. And now Fox a little bit more on the back foot than they'd like to be. With that Baron scaling up. Iron Cannon does come down, but it's going to find that gold miner. Here comes the Oblivion as well. T-Tigers is going to block it. It's actually going to get stolen by Fox, so they're actually going to start this fight. T-Tigers gets stunned up there. Merciless Pursuit to his death as he ends up falling first. Here comes the wait for it. D'Anzo jumping on the back line. Gauntlet to separate them. All of the members separated. Slater goes down, but D'Anzo is to follow. Super Shot's going to jump forward on top of Max. Is going to pick up that kill. The ace comes through for Fox, and again, another turnaround, and now the ball is in Fox's court.
Yeah, that was a really, really nice decision there. I was talking about the macro play from Echo Fox in game number 1 being a little bit lackluster, and in fact, earlier in this game we saw that too. But deciding to make that play around the gold mine was really, really smart. They've got a lot of burst damage to try and steal it away, and assuming that they are able to get in there whilst Immortals are kind of distracted and maybe a little bit split and not in the position to dive onto one person right away, that buys a lot of time for Supershot to get his first tension bow hit in, start to do some good damage. They're all clumped on the gold mine, so it's going to splash. Irwin, he's got very obvious things that he can do in that kind of situation as well. So Immortals, I kind of question the decision to try and fight over goldmine instead of just trying to fight over turrets right now, or trying to fight over forward camps or sort of weaker jungle monsters that you can just turn off of and kill people off the back of. That's really what Immortals comp is great at. It's great at diving onto people. And we've seen them actually be able to do that very effectively so far in this game. That being said, I think even with that turnaround, not the perfect spot for Fox. You can see it here.
Well, they're just going to jump straight on in again, and Irwin's already deleted before I can even get the words out of my mouth. But Supershot, look at his damage. He's going to dive straight off to Dienzio. 1-for-1 trade, and now what can T-Tigers do? He can rush towards Supershot. Looking all too scary. Smite steals the kill, and Slater has to back off. T-Tigers running away with this game, but Supershot, you got to put it on him right now. He is really starting to pack a punch.
He really is, and Dienzio, this is something which just happens sometimes. Like, you kind of get Dienzio to trade into Irwin. Supershot dies into T-Tigers. That's not an abnormal flow for these fights, and I think that it's not something Immortals minds necessarily. But you can see that Supershot, after maybe one more item, is going to be in a position where he kills Dienzio so quickly that Dienzio can't find the damage onto who he's looking for. He does not have comparable burst damage that he can do. We're going to have to see a bit of a change of plan from Immortals later on. T-Tigers is going to need to get weakness stacks onto Supershot, or these fights just won't work. Echo Fox, they're getting to that point, but as I was in the process of saying when that fight broke out, they're not there yet. That fight around Goldmine was a special case.
Well, this might be another special case of a fight. Owen actually gets stunned up there. Look at the damage from Immortals. Just erase him. Another chasing after Supershot. Supershot's not long for the world. AJ, you said they got to change up the game plan, but apparently if you do the same thing over and over again, they just keep killing Fox. That's going to be Immortals with the ace there. They're going to push forward and take this tier 2 turret as well. My goodness. This engagement from them are perfect.
If the game went long enough. But if you're just going to keep the same plan and keep putting pressure on early, you don't ever need to get there, right? And that's what we're seeing. And I like where they're fighting, too. Like, they're fighting in a position where they can funnel Echo Fox into an easy chase situation where they can just dive. The gauntlet is going to be really good in that situation. It's going to force a jump jets out of Supershot quite quickly. That enables them to follow up with the dashes that they have on the Kroll, and with the Sonic Super Vox and all that kind of stuff. Also, now T-Tigers has got tier 3 boots. Good luck getting away from him. It's just not going to happen until Supershot has tier 3s of his own, or if the sort of game plan from Echo Fox changes to really focus on just keeping Supershot alive, even at the expense of Irwin in certain situations. So, yeah, Immortals, they're playing this game as they need to. The only mistake I think that they've made so far was going for that gold mine. Now with the Kraken on the board, I actually think they shouldn't try and leverage it right now. They should just keep putting the pressure on in a very forward way, get vision down. Once you go in and you have a very brutal fight where you get some good damage onto Echo Fox, then maybe you turn around and try and burn that Kraken down. But their Kraken taking is not that quick. So it's really, really difficult for Immortals, to try and leverage Kraken to get the fight they're looking for.
They're still looking for another fight here. Max Green does have that Gauntlet, and T-Tigers is onto the side. He is the fastest pirate in the seas, and he is commanding the Black Pearl. Owen gets jumped on again. The target is perfect, and the target is right. That'll be the first kill going over to T-Tigers. Supershot having to jump away. Blast Tremor as well does come out from Slater to force the Immortals disengage. They are just going to focus on this Crystal Sentry. However, just taking that one off the board will be a nice little booty for Immortals. Now, what do they do next? That Sentry has only got one life left. That Kraken is on the board, but it does look like they're just going to focus towards this lane.
All right, Immortals, what are they going to be able to get off the back of that pick is the question. With only 5 seconds left, they got to move now if they want to try and take down the turret.
Well, that's exactly what they are doing. Max Green going fairly low here. That turret is just getting chunked out. Dienzio is going to be able to secure it, and now T-Tigers using that boot active is going to be able to get away. War Treads from Fox, though, is going to provide some nice chase. T-Tigers blocking the merciless pursuit with the reflex. That's pretty nice from him, and will they be able to back off nice and safely? And now Echo Fox once more find themselves in this position from last game. Their base is cracked open, that Kraken's on the board, and Immortals, they're getting stronger by the second.
They are indeed, as I said, Echo Fox, if Immortals chooses to fight the wrong way or at the wrong time, certainly has the ability to turn it around. That's just the power of Baron. It does so much damage, it has such range that mispositioning is easily punished, especially for someone like this Vox. So really keep your eye on where Dienzio is standing in these fights. To patch over that, though, they do have T-Tigers and Max Green, who as soon as a fight breaks out, can kind of just dive in and make something happen. It's really all about the positioning, though. If Immortals are positioned correctly, they should easily be able to jump onto Fox. Slater, look out for him right now.
Speaking of Immortals jumping onto people, Oblivion is going to come out here. We'll see if it does land. Silence does come through from Slater as well, but it doesn't matter because Immortals are already on the back line. That'll be Baron Foring. Irwin's going to be next on the table. Krull is just hitting and just chopping them down. This isn't even fair at this point. Immortals, they're just chasing after Slater now, looking for this ace. T-Tigers unrelenting on this Krull. Slater trying to get away, but it's not going to be enough. He's just going to get chopped down. Scurvy is apparent. T-Tigers have got the oranges, and he is not sharing them with Slater. Dienzio's going to rotate now. We'll see if they just want to go for this Kraken or the end of the game. Does it like, in fact, they're just going to go towards this Kraken?
Yeah, I think going for the Kraken makes a lot of sense here. Why take the risk? This is a game that determines Immortals' ability to get into the Vainglory8. Just play it slow, play it safe. You've kind of proven that in these fights, Echo Fox just isn't able to make them happen, and I highly doubt that with the Kraken bearing down on their base, that is going to change. It's about Immortals making sure they focus the right things when they get into the base. It depends on, where people are standing. I can't necessarily say they should definitely go for turrets until they get there, but they do have to make that right decision, because a turnaround in the base with an ace and a Kraken does mean a lot of gold for Echo Fox, does mean a big push. They push very quickly, so Echo Fox are not out of it, but it really relies at this point, unfortunately, on Immortals making a bit of a misstep.
Well, it didn't happen last game, but Fox, they still have this scaling Baron. We'll see what they can do with it, and that's the question. Can he actually get online? He's got Monocles, he's got Tension Bow, Sorrow Blade, everything he needs, theoretically, but can he make it work? This Kraken bearing down now on Fox's base. Ion Cannon just for a little bit of damage. Dienzio gets stunned up here. They're actually just going to dive straight on him. Target selection's good. However, that Gauntlet isn't going to be all too much apparent here. It gets completely ignored. Echo Fox ignoring the damage coming out from Tigers, though. They're going to run down Super Shot, and Irwin just cowering under this turret. Slater has got a lot of stacks on him, but he's just going to chase down Irwin now. That Kraken, I think, is just going to end the base here. Fountain is going to heal them up. Dienzio almost falling. There goes the second turret, and Immortals will find the crystal. They're going to find the series, and Fox just looked completely dismembered.
They did indeed. There were some moments of real hope for Echo Fox. Honestly, they had a good early game. They just couldn't translate it effectively, and part of that was just not reading the sort of plays that Immortals wanted to make. For example, Slater moving up to the lane instead of backing and healing. It's very greedy. It's very greedy, not trying to play around the opportunities you're giving to your opponents. Echo Fox, let's see how they do in the rest of their games, but Immortals, man, looking real good.
They're looking all too good, and it was the T-Tigers show, but I haven't got any more pirate jokes left in me, so Munch, you guys are going to have to take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. What a game coming out from Immortals, and they are going to take this series 2-0 in the end against Echo Fox, which means